And welcome back to a kind of a follow-up and bonus track on our global DE-CIX webinar or global digital get-together. As the participants have seen, we got tons of questions and we were over time. Thank you for being so active, so interactive. Great questions. We don't want to leave the remaining questions unanswered. Let me first apologize for the technical issues we got at the end. We didn't want to close the webinar in that way. We want to take the opportunity and, of course, to answer all remaining questions. So this is now the follow-up, almost live session. We do this live with all participants. We record this live, and thank you again for being part of this and enjoying actually the rest of our webinar, answering the remaining questions. I want to hand over back to Wolfgang, who will guide us through the remaining questions. Thank you, Wolfgang.
Thank you, Ivo. I have a question from Alfonso Garcia from GTD in Spain. Alfonso writes, I would like to know if DE-CIX will use dark fiber to interconnect data centers in metropolitan network, and if dark fiber in metro networks will be the best solution to fight the need for greater bandwidth.
So let me answer that. It's me, Thomas, again. Yes, sure, we are using dark fibers heavily to interconnect data centers. What is super important for us is that, if we have two data centers, we want to interconnect them, we always have get redundant, fully diverse dark fibers to do so. Depending on the traffic that we expecting from flowing between the two data centers, we start with slit services like DVDM, 100G or whatever is available connectivity, and then move to dark fiber to lit it up ourselves. So yes, it's a clear yes to make a long story short.
Thank you, Thomas. The next question is about India, and it comes from Srajit Banerjee. And the question is, when can we get more content providers connected in Kolkata location, India? Why there are less peers in Kolkata? Is it because of geographical location or any other reason?
I think the reason is just more related to timing. We are hardly working with the DE-CIX global community, especially on the content side. And we will have very positive news to the community in Kolkata, introducing bigger international content delivery and content networks participating at DE-CIX in Kolkata very soon. I hope will be within the next couple of months. And the general reason for kind of a delayed development of the peering community of Kolkata is probably for historically interconnection or infrastructure reasons, where we do have seen in the past Mumbai and Delhi, but also in the south Chennai and other locations in India being more ahead in terms of infrastructure development. But I think Kolkata, given the geographic positioning and also given the population and the number of smaller networks, especially on the inbound side, will catch up very fast. So we are looking forward to creating faster the local peering community in Kolkata, and DE-CIX Kolkata will be a very active ecosystem very soon. We're working on this.
Thank you, Ivo. The next question is from Vinay Nagpal. And he first says, thank you, Ivo, Thomas, and Chris. This has been a very informative session. Thank you for putting it together. And the question goes, are there any new enterprise-centric services that DE-CIX is looking at bringing to market to further assist enterprises who are looking for ways to ensure that their employees can remotely access the enterprise data in a seamless and secure way?
We can't hear you, Chris, if you want to say something. Still, we can't hear you.
Let me bridge this gap just for a second with a general comment while we fix this with a voice of the Chris. And in general, DE-CIX works on a lot of different options for services, which will be very useful for enterprises as well. Chris mentioned in his part of the presentation the different options that DE-CIX has already developed, collaborating with networks like Microsoft on the Microsoft Azure peering services, the MAP service, which is a very enterprise focused one. We are also working on some use cases for closed user groups or federations based on different sectors for enterprises. Just healthcare, finance, automotive, logistics in general are just a couple of examples. We believe that the direct interconnection is extremely important in the future, and we'll support this with proper services very close to the market. And now I want to hand over to Chris and hope he fixed the mic issue.
No, it still doesn't work. So let me add on that quickly. So besides what you just mentioned, Direct Cloud is actually a product that is also meant to be used by enterprises, because it allows enterprises to have a direct connection into cloud service providers like Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud Platform, or also AWS from Amazon. So, and just to name a few, there's a long list. We have more than 50 cloud service providers nowadays in our cloud exchange. So I guess we run the biggest cloud exchange on the planet. So this, this cloud exchange covers the main players and also more niche cloud service providers. So, whatever need an enterprise might have in having a direct connection to the cloud service provider, we can serve. And and this makes sure that even if there's a hiccup with the internet, like routing issue or DDoS attack or whatever, an enterprise can have direct connection to the cloud for their business critical applications.
Yeah, so to that note, I don't really have to add much. Ivo and Thomas answered the question fully. I can just say that we are currently also working on commercial bundling products, which might make it easier to just, if you want to order something at DE-CIX, you do it all at once, and you don't have to go multiple times through the procurement process. Just order sort of a commercial bundle and decide later which clouds, which peering capacities, or which virtual PNI service you may need.
Thank you. Next question is from Florian Niederbacher, and he asks why we have chosen to build Globe Peer in Palermo instead of Milano.
Let me take this answer, and thanks again for touching on this, which is important for the solution for the Southern Europe. DE-CIX Palermo has been built first for redundancy reasons to Marseille as well. So we want to make sure that in the Mediterranean basin we do see more options, and there was nothing on Sicily or in Palermo. And the second main reason why we decided to be there is the huge aggregation of sea cables. So DE-CIX Palermo has to be treated more as also a gateway or interconnection ecosystem for east coast of Africa, for Sicily itself, but also North Africa, and it's less focus on the North Italian or Italian domestic interconnection landscape. In a nutshell, we try to open new markets and new service operations where we do see a problem. So in Milano, we haven't seen that big problem, so we decided to be there where the problem was bigger and lack of interconnection was obvious.
Thank you. Next question goes to Thomas and Chris, and it's about provisioning. The question is from Yolandi Robinson, and it goes, when dealing with the upgrades of ports of peers, how did this process go overall? Were all peers ready and prepared for this traffic increase on their ports?
So it actually went very smooth. We saw that this increase was about in total 10%. Of course, it could be a little bit different for a particular network, but in overall it was just 10%. And our customers take a lot of care for running the networks. They are not running their access ports hot with us. So an increase of 10% can be easily handled by their networks as well. And as we just saw the increase in traffic, we also saw that quite some customers started upgrading connectivity with us because they were expecting more to come. As usual, you know, look at the traffic graphs all over the world. There's only one direction going up, and so we need to prepare for that. Prepare right in time so that everybody has enough capacity for whatever might come. And an increase of 10% or 15 or 20% shouldn't be an issue for any professionally run network, from my point of view.
Yeah, so the upgrades are also sustainable, because I believe it's just what would have happened in half a year or a year from now happened just now. So the capacity added now will be also used in the future.
Thank you, Chris. So the last question I have, it goes to Ivo. The question is from Arthur Mendes, and he asks, how do you believe the economic crisis will hit the telecom sector in the future with the rise of people losing their jobs?
Yeah, the situation we do experience globally is a very hard one, and at the same time very hard to be predicted what exactly will be the effects, the global economic effects on different sectors. I think nobody has a valid answer to this, to what degree the telecom sector will be affected. Now, what we see is that the awareness about the high priority and importance of telecommunication answer services and infrastructure increased dramatically. Now, everybody, disregarding in which business area or in which region is involved in operations, understands the importance of the telecommunications sector. So we hope that the negative effect will be very limited, if any. But again, to be honest, it's very difficult to answer this. We hope that a lot of enterprises and people will recover very fast, very soon. And we hope that with common forces, especially with the different programs which have been implemented by governments and other institutions, the help for all sectors and also the effects on the telecommunication industry will be maintained properly. So we will avoid a big recession. We see a big challenge for a lot of enterprises and people globally, but at the same time, we hope that everybody will recover very fast. Predictions and assumptions cannot be done that accurately today.
Thank you, Ivo. I have no more questions.
Yes, thank you, Wolfgang. This is the end of the question and answer session. Herewith, I want to say thank you to you all for participating. Please do not forget to visit our next activities and to be part of our next digital activities. You can see on the next slide. This is the DE-CIX Academy webinar we do have on the topic of peering tools, which will be held on tomorrow, actually, on the 8th of April. We do have further DE-CIX Academy webinar. This is the BGP 01 prefixes and autonomous systems. And of course, we do have the big digital RIPE 80 session, which will be held on the 11th of May 2020, all entirely digital or entirely online. And last but not least, please look at the next slide and see the big number of faces which are of people. We are working daily to make the infrastructure you guys need available, to be for you, available to answer your questions and to support you. You'll see on the left-hand side all of the guys involved in customer services and support, making sure that the upgrades are run smoothly and all other questions related to the service quality can be answered in time. And on the right-hand side, you see all, I believe, well-known faces being talking to you on different conferences and now being in touch with you daily on Skype, on email, on the phone, all other, of course, collaborative work applications like Zoom, like Team, and WebEx, just not to mention one only. Please feel free to get back to us with any questions, with any comments. We're looking forward to staying in touch with you in the different regions of DE-CIX. But most important thing is, before we close this follow-up webinar, post-live webinar, want to say thank you for being part of the global community, creating different and very important infrastructure solutions and delivering the digital answers everybody needs today. Last but not least, please stay safe and healthy, and see you and talk to you very soon. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.